And good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wow Wednesday. Woot woot. I am Nancy Matthews, one of the co-founders of Women's Prosperity Network, bringing you this midweek boost of motivation, education, and inspiration to keep you moving forward in your life in the best possible way, going for your goals and your dreams. We bring you this midweek boost on Wednesday specifically so that no longer are you referring to Wednesday as hump day. Oh, I'm just waiting for the weekend. It's a reminder that we have the power to choose to create a wow day any day. And we want to support you in starting off with that. And I want to remind you all that Women's Prosperity Network is a community of amazing, inspired, extraordinary women and a few good men who are making a massive difference in the world. Laura Barker is one of our members, and I want to encourage you to go ahead to womensprosperityNetwork.com. If you're not a member yet, go ahead. You can join for free. And when you join for free, you get a profile put up there for all of our members who love this community. And, not so much because you love me and Trish and Susan, but we know you do. Not even because of that, but because of this community, this sisterhood that's been created. So for all of our members, be sure to go to the referrals tab at the top of the website in the menu bar so that you can share the goodness of Women's Prosperity Network with other women and men that you care about. So let's keep growing this community. We thank you for that. And today, Laura Barker is with us, and she's going to be sharing with us how we can crack the code on LinkedIn. And this is something that I have wanted to do for a long time, but I wasn't really sure how to do it, how to set it up right. And Laura brings to her with her personal experience and success on LinkedIn, growing her own businesses, as well as her capacity for strategic thinking, I'm going to call it. She's an attorney. She works with Legal Shield and she supports businesses with cybersecurity. Like, she has a consulting company, and really Laura is all about ensuring that people have the best and most protected path forward to maximize opportunities and minimize risk. So welcome, Laura Barker.
My goodness, Nancy, that was me you were describing. That was awesome. Thank you so much for that incredible introduction.
And oh my goodness, I did forget, she also runs an international company with online sales called Zazzy Bands. That's also one of the purposes of that company is to raise funds for, who do you raise funds for?
We help support an orphanage in Zimbabwe.
So good. So good. Oh my goodness. All right. So let's rewind just a little bit. And let me ask you, how did LinkedIn become your go-to platform for making connections and growing your business? Why did you pick LinkedIn?
Absolutely. I had reached a point in my Legal Shield business where I felt like I was plateaued. I also wasn't interested in continuing going to those early morning BNI meetings and networking meetings. Mm-hmm. And it hit me that here was this platform, LinkedIn, specifically created for business people. And what did I have posted on LinkedIn? An outdated resume looking profile and about 250 connections that were just sort of random. Don't even know how I got them. So I made the intentional decision to learn at a pretty deep level the ways that people can maximize their presence on LinkedIn. And that's exactly what I was able to do. In the first 3 months of my training with LinkedIn, mm-hmm. I grew from 250 connections to over 3,000.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
And these were not just random people that I was connecting with. So
these weren't, those bot purchases. I can get you 1,000 connections for $200. It's not, these were real connections.
These were real connections that I've learned the system. I've worked the system now for years, whereby you can go, you have to have a great profile, starts there. You
Starts
have
that
to have
right.
an intention. You
Yeah.
got to know why you're there, right? And then you can really target your connections and get to a position where you can control essentially the number of meetings with quality clients that you want to have.
Beautiful. And as we get ready to dive into some of the strategies, so Laura's going to be sharing some tips, strategies, and techniques with you today. And obviously, you're not going to get everything that she got after her deep dive just today. So I know that you're hosting a class August 10th. We'll give you the information about that in just a little bit. I'm curious, when you grew those connections, did some of those actually become customers or clients?
Absolutely. The really interesting thing that I feel is so important to understand about LinkedIn is that it is not Facebook. It operates on a totally different level. So when you are prospecting on LinkedIn, it is intentional. You're setting up meetings that are designed to talk about your business, your offer.
Right.
And that leads to meetings, and that leads to business.
So as you're describing this, I'm thinking that, when you make connections on Facebook, for example, there's the social factor that happens first, and then you start talking about business. It sounds like because on the LinkedIn platform, it's understood we're there to do business with each other. So there's a layer that's kind of skimmed off the top. You do still need to build rapport and relationship, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
LinkedIn is all about relationship, but it's about a business relationship, not a social relationship. And that is a key difference. You want to be communicating with your connections in a way that lets them know you're serious about business. Then when you have the meeting, it will be much easier to get into the business discussion because you set the framework.
Yeah. So that intention that you talked about a few minutes ago, that it makes so much sense, because me being a busy professional, if somebody reaches out to me and I don't really know them yet, when I get on a call with them and there's no context for our conversation or direction for where this is going, I don't have time always for that, right? So I do love people and I like to build relationships, but especially if you're reaching out to me on LinkedIn, where's the win-win? So I think that's one of the things we want to create, is being able to state what that win-win is. I'm reaching out to you because I see you do blah, 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 blah. I also do blah, 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 or I have something that can help blah, 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 right?
Absolutely.
Be direct.
Be direct. But at the same time, it's kind of a fine line. You're not selling. You're
Correct.
having a conversation like we're having one right now. It's an exploratory meeting. It's a discovery meeting to find out, how can I serve you? Mm-hmm. And maybe how can you serve me? How can we support one another in our businesses? And that may come in the form of doing business together. That may come in the form of referrals. That may even just come in the form of, now I know who you are and you're part of my network. And if I run into somebody who might need your services, I've got you there to be able to connect them with. So being a connector for other people on LinkedIn is also an extremely valuable thing to do for folks and for yourself.
All right, beautiful. Well, let's start diving into some of the specifics, starting with the profile. What are some things that are do's or do nots that we want to make sure we have on our profiles?
Absolutely. So first, I have to say, when you are making changes to your profile, one of the big don'ts is don't have your notifications on, so that every little change you make is going out to your network.
I gotta take notes. Take notes, everybody. This is gold that she's dripping on us.
You want to go into your settings on LinkedIn and turn that off. And there are several different ways to do that. I can't really go into. We don't have time for me to pull up a screen and show you that level of detail, but you can find that. You want to turn off that notification.
Okay.
You also really must have a professional headshot, folks.
Mm.
You also really need a powerful banner. Take the time, use Canva. I know probably everybody on this call uses Canva, or if you don't, get it, right?
Well,
it's a great system.
Well, let me ask this question, because I hear, and of course, when you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, or let me just say this, when somebody Googles your name, if you don't have your own website, your LinkedIn profile is going to come up on the first page of Google. Just so you know, I've done it, as an experiment with many, many people. So LinkedIn is a great search engine to get your name out there. If you're not on LinkedIn, do it. Anyway, what goes on the banner? Like, do I load it up with all the things that I do and my contact information? That's been an area of confusion for me. So I would imagine it is so for others.
The banner is a great way to keep people up to date on what you're doing currently. So it's not something that should be static. It's not. Now it can be, it really does depend on your business also and your goal, right? Are you using LinkedIn to prospect and get new clients, get leads? Are you using it mainly for branding? Are you using it for building a speaking career?
Mm-hmm.
So gets back to intention, Nancy. What is your intention for being on LinkedIn? We've all heard that you don't you need to know your why. Well, it's the same thing with LinkedIn. You need to know why you're there so that everything you do supports that intention, from selecting the people you want to connect with to the messaging, everything.
All right, beautiful. So turn off your notifications. Make sure you have a professional, up-to-date headshot, because it's kind of weird if you end up having a picture from like 20 years ago and then we meet on a Zoom and you're like, are you the same person?
Yeah, I've never known anybody to be like that, Nancy. Okay, I recently had to make that change because my headshot was so old.
Yeah, it still looked like you. And here's the thing. In building relationships, it's all about building trust. So having that up-to-date picture, having your banner look fresh, all of those are little ways to build trust between strangers that you're starting to create a relationship with. And in today's ever so skeptic society, we've got to be really intentional that we're doing things to create trust, not break trust.
I want to give you a perfect example of that. I always research my connections before the meeting with them, even before I start communicating with them. If I'm going to reach out to somebody, I'm going to know what they do, what they're about. Well, one day I had done that, and I was in this conversation with a gentleman on LinkedIn, and I made a comment about his website, and he challenged me and said, I'll bet you haven't even looked at it. Well, I had, thankfully, right? So I was able to fire back immediately and said, well, as a matter of fact, I have. And what I really liked about it was the photos you showed of the inside manufacturing division. And then from then on, I was credible with him.
Absolutely.
Right? But imagine if I had not done my homework and he said, you haven't even looked at it, and I hadn't, because if I'd had to take the time to go do it, it would have been obvious.
Well, and I love that story. It's a perfect example. And let's keep in mind that we're in these connections to develop relationships. And one of the best ways to develop a relationship is having the other person feel that they are important to you.
Absolutely.
And you made him important enough that in your very busy schedule, you took a couple of minutes and looked at his website before you connected. And I want to encourage everyone. The truth of the matter is you never have to make another cold call. Your friend Google can give you everything you want to know about what someone's up to. And I'll do the same thing. I'll just go to, if I'm getting on a call with someone I haven't met yet, I'll check out their Facebook, their LinkedIn, maybe their Instagram. I want a sense of who they are and what they're up to create that relationship. It's one of the best ways to build trust and rapport. Fabulous, my friend.
Absolutely. I also want to say, as you build your LinkedIn presence, you will start getting connection requests. People will start wanting to connect with you. Mm-hmm. Please do not accept everyone blindly.
Okay, I'm curious why.
Well, here's a simple example. I don't do business internationally. So my Sassy Bands, we're international, but that's not a LinkedIn conversation. That's a whole different company business model. Right. So for my business consulting that I don't do that typically internationally. I didn't do it at all with Legal Shield, right? Mm-hmm. I can do some now that I'm expanding my consulting and doing the LinkedIn. But initially, I just didn't want to accept international connections because I had nothing to offer them, if that makes any sense. But the other thing is, it's not about building the number of connections you have. It used to be. People used to think, I just need to connect. But what's the point of that if you don't have engagement? You need to be, you want to be able to engage with these people. So I typically will, before I accept a connection, I pop over and look at their profile.
Right. Does this feel like or seem like a good fit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not saying just reject people necessarily, but here's another point I would like to make, because I know we probably have a lot of network marketers on the call, or at least some. I do not recommend connecting with other people in your particular business. LinkedIn is your sales presence. It is your branding of you. And if you have connections with a whole bunch of your other colleagues in the same exact business, what good is that to you or them? Right? Mm-hmm. Now, it might benefit them if you're really rocking it and they're going to, go into your connections, and there are a lot of reasons not to connect with people in your particular business.
Well, and what I'm thinking from that is it's good to have relationships with those people, but the forum or platform for those relationships may not be on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
LinkedIn is the business to consumer, the business to business reason for connections,
right?
Not support, masterminding, brainstorming. There's other places for that.
Right. And to that point, I connect with all my Legal Shield people on Facebook.
Perfect.
It just makes sense for me to do that. And most of them know I'm not going to accept their connection request if they send me one on LinkedIn.
So a question for you. Do you know how many millions or billions of people are active on LinkedIn?
Oh my gosh. So I am the world's worst with numbers, Nancy. I cannot keep them in my head, but it is billions. The worldwide number that I cannot recall off the top of my head is enormous. And if you start doing searches, and I really want to also talk about for just a minute, you want to search for who you want to connect with. What you're going to find is that there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in your target area.
Wow.
Depending on how big or small you want to make it. I have focused on business owners within my geographic region for some time now, business owners and insurance agents. I never run out of people with whom I want to connect
with. Okay, so let's do an example. So let's say I am a financial coach and I work with women over 50 to give them, guidance to have navigate their finances for financial freedom and security. How would I search for those women on LinkedIn?
That is a great question. And it really requires a little bit of a deep dive, because you have to know what I will call your avatar, your ideal client. That is something that you need to spend time really developing. And Nancy, I know WPN talks about that very topic in depth. So there's training on the great library.
I know. I kind of harp on it.
A little bit, right? So once you have identified that, I love people putting the numbers in the chat for me. Yes. Thank you, because I cannot keep them in my head. Y'all are awesome. So the and now I lost my train of thought.
The deep dive.
Deep dive.
Women over 50.
Right. So once you know your ideal client, your avatar, then you can take those characteristics and start to do some advanced searches on LinkedIn.
Do you have to pay for that level, or is that still free?
There is a paid level that allows you to do a lot more, but there is a lot that you can do on LinkedIn for free.
Okay, great.
I don't even have a paid premium account right now. I have in the past. I go back and forth, but I don't need it right now.
That was one of my main questions. Like, do you really, because I get these messages from LinkedIn. Oh, people are looking at your profile, upgrade to see who's watching you. I don't need to do that.
Well, it really depends on where you are in business. And again, it goes back to your intention, right? I have so many connections right now, upwards over 6,000. I've kind of lost track, and I'm not even trying to connect with new people anymore, to be honest. I am really working my existing connections, but it's not, if you're not having the engagement that you want, sometimes it is worth it to pay to see who is liking, commenting, you'll see who's commenting and sharing, but you might not see who's viewing your profile. You won't, in fact.
And maybe you go the paid route for a little while, and then you can turn it off.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I did.
Okay. We got some good statistics and numbers here. And after I share this, we're going to dive into how do you create those meaningful conversations? So we create connections, and now I need to start to get into a conversation. So let me share these numbers, and thank you to Roz and Jan and Janet, who helped us with this. So there are 756 million members on LinkedIn. 200 countries and territories worldwide. Roz says that females account for 43%, males 56%. There are 326 million female users on LinkedIn. So if you want to serve women, get on LinkedIn.
Right? Wow.
I love that. Thank you so much for supporting us in that. Okay, so let's say I do this advanced search. I know my avatar, and my avatar is either my client, or if you are a speaker or an author and you want to get on shows, you want to get speaking engagements, you'll have an avatar for that type of a person. And now I'm going to create a connection. What do I say?
Absolutely. That's perfect. So again, it is going to go back to your intention, but the first thing you want to do with someone is let them know you are truly interested in them. There are some great messaging scripts that I've developed over time that help kind of crack that code open.
Oh, really?
And one thing that you can say is, so first, do your homework, right? Look at their profile, go to their website. Know who you're talking to before you reach out. When you make a connection, you have an option of adding a note. I'm sure you've seen that, or not adding a note.
Right.
So it used to be, the going theory was LinkedIn's recommendation was always add a note. But remember, LinkedIn always wants you to do it their way. So, but the reality on the ground was, pre-COVID and everything, that adding a note did not necessarily improve your acceptance rate.
Okay.
Now, however, and I shifted because I saw this happening when COVID hit. Nobody wanted that quick, I don't have time, let's just connect, right? What they were looking for is, I'm looking for someone to build a relationship with. Do we have a reason to talk?
They were looking for a real connection. So I'm looking for people to build relationships with. Do we have a reason to talk? So your message when you're making that connection, you want to include in that, what possibilities are you exploring? That was good.
Hey, Nancy, I see that you've written a book called The One. That is absolutely fascinating. I've ordered it. Would love to talk to you about it sometime. You
I'd,
going to accept that?
I'd say yes.
Right? Absolutely. So it's really a way to let someone know that you are not just clicking the connect.
Yeah, you're interested in them,
Yes.
not in what they can do for you and building your followers. That's really powerful. Awesome. So the first thing is to add a note.
Yes.
All right.
And then what I love, I just have a kind of a go-to phrase, and you all can make it your own, right? But when I get that connection accepted, I'd love to say something like, what are your goals this year? I just also love to say something kind of more general about, well, it's great that we're connected, but what's the point if we don't engage?
Oh, you say that?
Oh, yeah, I do.
I love that. She is a smooth operator. That's what Ross said about you. That is good. What, right? You know what? We're on here for a reason. So I love that. I'm great that it's great that we're connected, but what's the use if we're not engaging? So
Right. If we're not learning from one another,
okay.
or you can rephrase that any way you want, but you do want to say that. And then sometimes I'll follow it up with, would love to hop on a call and see how we can support one another because we're in the same industry or because whatever
the reason
but
is.
that can be a second message too, because what do we know about marketing? How many touches, right?
Got to keep following up, keep building it, and develop those. You're developing the relationships, and what you're really developing is trust.
Absolutely. And I'm going to give you right now a golden nugget.
Okay. I got
on your notifications tab in your LinkedIn. Go to that tab, and it is going to show you who's having birthdays, who's having anniversaries, who's changed jobs, who's started a new business, and so on and so forth, right? It is well worth your time to congratulate, send well wishes, whatever's appropriate. However, never, never, never click the LinkedIn suggested congratulatory words.
Why?
Always personalize it.
Why?
Somebody who is having a birthday and you just type and you go to their messaging and and LinkedIn will say happy birthday, and that's it. You click that, everybody knows that's automated. Basically everybody knows that's just,
it doesn't feel genuine.
It isn't. And it isn't. I mean, it may be a genuine intention, but it doesn't come across that way. With writing and texting and messaging, we really have to work to get our intention across. So here's some recommendations for that. Always use the person's name. So I would always say something like, happy birthday, Nancy. I hope you have the best day ever, Laura.
It feels different.
And right?
Love to see their name and hear their name.
And right. Here's why you do this. This is not just a feel-good tip. This is a business tip. So I have been consistently congratulating all of my notifications, just boom, 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 and for years now. And believe it or not, that builds your relationship. So the reason I can go in and set up 5 meetings this week if I wanted to, I can go to my birthday wishes, and people who have said, thank you, Laura, that really means a lot. Don't you think I can now go back to them and go, Nancy, we have really never talked. I would really love to learn more about your business.
I hope you are all getting this, because when she said she's dropping a golden nugget, I think it was a diamond nugget she just laid down for you. Wow. Because how many of us go back on those birthday wishes that we give to continue the conversation? That was really, really good. Ross goes, yep, 25 karat gold, 25 karat diamond. That was.
Honestly, that has been one of the biggest,
I love it,
takeaways for me. I've just been able to generate business and connections, and not connections, but, relationships because of that. Because here's what happens on LinkedIn. When you send that personalized well wish. And then later, maybe a year later, who knows when, doesn't matter. Okay. Does not matter how much time has passed. When you come back and say, hey, Nancy, we've never talked, love what you're doing, whatever, then they see everything for the last 5 years or 2 years or 1 year or 6 months where you have consistently been paying attention to them.
Yeah, beautiful.
It matters.
So do they think it's stalking? Just checking.
No. Oh, no. No, because remember, you're responding to something that they have allowed to be put out there.
Right. Oh, true.
Right.
Yep.
They've allowed LinkedIn to notify their network when they get a new job, when they have a birthday, when they are celebrating an anniversary. Right. So no, it's not stalking at all. It's much appreciated, you will find.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we've got lots of comments happening in the chat. I want to be able to open up for question and answer. So if you're here with us on the Zoom line, you can go ahead and either hit *6 on your phone or raise your hand, and we'll go ahead and answer some questions for you. I see a couple people have raised their hands. So hit *6 or raise your hand if you're with us on the Zoom. And I'd like to also say, if you have a question and you're in our Facebook group following the thread, you can put your question there and I'll read it off to make sure that Laura gets it. You can clearly see we are just scratching the surface of cracking this code on LinkedIn, and clearly she knows her stuff. So Laura, go ahead and let everybody know about the class that you have coming up to really dive deeper into all of this. And I'll just let y'all know, write down the link. It is barkerbusinesssolutions.com. barkerbusinesssolutions.com, and that will give you 3 S's in the middle. Just barkerbusinesssolutions.com. Tell them about the class, when it is, and all the goodies that go with it.
Fantastic. Thank you for that opportunity, Nancy. So I am teaching a class on August 10th from 2 to 3 to really give a deep dive into your profile. I have found that whether you are brand new to LinkedIn or you've been there for a while, we can all improve our profiles. And it is your profile that will get you to that next level of relationship with your connections. People look at profiles before they accept a connection. People review your profile before they talk with you. Your profile is your, I'll call it your welcome statement almost, and a sales page. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to be talking about in the class is how to make sure that you, first of all, covered all the basics on your profile, right? That you've got a good headshot, that your banner is popping and doing something for somebody, telling them what you want them to know in a user-friendly way, that your about section is crafted with intention and ease of user-friendly for the reader.
Right, that the messaging is clear, and it's not like blah 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 blah.
Right. And yeah, and I've seen those. Oh my goodness. So the other thing is, so on the class, I'm also going to do a live demonstration. We're just going to have one of the people who are attending. I'm going to go directly to their LinkedIn profile there in the class and just work through it with them, so that people can see kind of exactly what I'm talking about in action. And then I've got some tools and tips and tricks that I'm going to share as to help you make better use of LinkedIn. Some of them are free and some of them are paid.
Love it. Love it. So, so much good stuff. If you enjoyed today, I invite you to tap into the gold mine that is inside of LinkedIn for you, with an expert to guide you. Because I know in the past I had tried and I was like, well, I don't know. And all I got was people saying, hey, if you want to try this, buy my thing. If you want to be in this company, if you're looking for an opportunity. And I think I had just accepted a whole bunch of connections. And then I was like, people just wanted to sell me. I didn't like it. So then I backed away.
Sure. And that's not uncommon
Yeah,
because,
there's gold mine.
yeah, it is there if you know how to use it. And it can be your best friend for life.
I love it. I love it. All right. So go to barkerbusinesssolutions.com and register for the class on August 10th. If for some reason I can't be there, you'll give the replays.
Of course.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to open up. Our first caller is my friend, Lori. Good morning, Lori.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I hear you beautifully, my friend.
Okay, thank you so much, Laura. This has been fantastic.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad.
I'm excited to say that I've been accepted to be a LinkedIn Live curator.
Lady.
Woo-hoo.
You've been on LinkedIn. You can teach me some things.
Yes, I have been. I love LinkedIn. So what is your number one tip going forward for me, since I haven't done anything yet? I'm about to start to harness LinkedIn Live to generate my ideal clients coming to me.
That is a great question. My number one tip, I'm going to assume, given your level of business, that you have your avatar and ideal client worked out. Yes.
Yes, I work with high achieving women who are ready to attain more, though are unsure how to attain it all. And they come to me to learn how to attain it all.
Fantastic. So you want to be using the LinkedIn Live. This is kind of a new thing, relatively new on LinkedIn, where it's like the stories that you see on Facebook and Instagram. So they don't stay up there forever. But this gives you an opportunity, Lori, to be constantly top of mind with the people that you want coming to any presentation you're doing, any podcast you're going to be on, any speaking engagement, and just to let them know who you are.
Do you do tips and like suggestions?
Yeah, so once a month, I'll take a scenario that these high achieving women have to overcome, challenges, hurdles, so on and so forth. And then weekly, I'll give a tip on how to overcome the various hurdles of that particular hurdle of the month. So each week is a new tip to kind of keep adding on to your toolbox on how to overcome one specific hurdle a month.
So let me ask you some questions, Lori. You're posting that on the live, the stories?
No.
Those tips?
So the tip is going to be not only a PDF that they can use once they go to my email list. So it'll get me the emails so that I build my email list. And then, yeah, that's how I was going to do that. Do you recommend
How are you
something
communicating it, though? Are you communicating it in a post or in a live?
So both. So I'm going to do a video today calling all high achieving women, letting them know that starting next Thursday at 2:30, I'll be doing my productivity tune-ups, so that would allow them to come every Thursday. And I know that it's going to take a little bit of time, but that's what I'm doing. So I'll do a video today.
I think you've got this dialed, girl.
I would make one more suggestion to you, Lori.
Yes, please.
So make sure that you are also sending out some direct messages to your connections.
Okay, I will.
To promote that. Direct messages are the most effective, I find, in making sure that you have kind of that minimum attendance that you need.
So what you're suggesting is she reach out to some of the people she has connections with and relationship with and saying, hey, I'm going to be going live today at 2:00. Would love to have you join me. Hey, is that what you,
that's exactly what I mean. Okay. Right.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you for the question.
Please come check me out on Thursdays.
I'll be looking for you.
All right. Beautiful. Great question. All right, let's go to our next caller, which is Aurelia.
Good morning, Aurelia.
Morning, how are you? I have a quick question. Earlier I was not doing coaching, even though that's what my profile says, and I was doing affiliate marketing. So I connected with a lot of coaches, and sure enough, some of them are like, why would I connect with you? We do the same thing. Well, there are no two coaches that do the exact same thing, and you attract people that are for you, and there's enough to go around. But aside from all of that, I would tell them that I'm not doing coaching anymore, which I wasn't, but now I'm back in the coaching field. One of the reasons why I look to coaches is because I think they could be interested in the affiliate marketing part of my business. And I actually got Octopus and have a whole bunch of coaches that I'm connected to. So my question is it still valid that I would not want to connect with other coaches, or what do you think, and how can I handle that? Because obviously I want to be in integrity and tell people, yes, I'm coaching now. And two, there are great partnerships, as you ladies know, if you're part of WPN. And this is one of the few, let me just say this has been the only place where I've actually seen more openness and willingness to connect and listen to each other instead of just, hey, I have this. You can't see me. I'm making all sorts of hand gestures. I have this, buy it, buy it, buy it. And then the other person, no, but wait, I have this. No, but I'm not interested. But see, so the women that have been in this platform that I've met have all been very open to receive, and I've generously referred and given suggestions. So what is your answer to that? I know the question may have gotten lost in there somewhere, Laura.
Well, I think that the question is, should I connect with other coaches? And if so, how? Is that a fair restatement?
Yes, because now I am doing coaching.
Okay.
So yes.
So first of all, it's always okay to change our minds and direction. So kudos to you for recognizing that this is what you want to get back into, right?
Thank you.
One thing that you can do, I think, to kind of assuage concerns about connecting with other coaches is by adding value to them without asking for anything. And I don't know your offerings, but for example, when you are sending a connection request to another coach, just call the elephant out in the room. Hey, we are both coaches. I think we approach things quite differently. However, I believe that we could add value to one another. And in fact, I'm aware of some platforms that you may want to know about and would love to just brainstorm with you.
That was so good, right, Aurelia?
Yes, she's good.
That was
It
awesome.
just so happens that I share with coaches, other platforms, other people, connect them with, because there's so much out there. You can't be everything to everyone, and there's
Right.
different personalities.
Kudos to you. I love it. I love it.
And you're right on, Aurelia. There are a lot of reasons to connect in your situation
Yep.
with people in your industry.
And let's face it, I have 3 different coaches right now.
Yeah. Right?
Oh, yes.
Right? So one coach doesn't do it all. So all good, all good. Aurelia, great question. I'm so glad you're enjoying being part of
I'm going to set an appointment with you later, Nancy. Thank you.
Yeah, you got my email. Okay, great. All right, beautiful. Thanks for being with us today and bringing all those great resources to help coaches be more effective, because it sounds like that's what you do.
I would agree.
You could
What a
even
great phrase too.
yeah. That's my mind going for you. All right, I'm going to
Coaching the coaches.
all right, beautiful. Thanks for being with us today. I'm going to open up in a moment. We've got a few more callers and some questions in the queue. I'm going to take one of the questions from Q now. That was, let's see here. Leah Loney on Facebook asks, thank you for the helpful tips. I unconnected with a few people in my industry. She's in real estate on her LinkedIn. Is it a good idea to do so in her professional Facebook page and Facebook group as well? And Facebook may not be your domain of expertise.
It really isn't. And I just have to confess that. So I really have just focused on LinkedIn, and I get so much from that I just don't use. The only thing I use Facebook for is my connecting with, friends and family, and then also specific business support groups. So I'm not sure that I can respond to that appropriately because I don't know the Facebook culture well enough to
Right.
tell you.
Totally get it. And here's the thing I might say, as a real estate broker and agent, it might be a little bit different, because if you can see other real estate agents' listings, they can bring you, you can be the buyer for their seller, or they can bring the buyer to your seller. I think it's a little bit different. So I don't know if it's necessary to, unconnect. I think there's a lot of synergy between you.
I
So,
would say one thing to that though, and that is, at least on LinkedIn, and I think it could probably be the same for Facebook, and that is this: it's the same as I was saying with the coaching, right? There are a lot of different types of realtors out there.
yeah.
Y'all don't all do the same thing, right?
Exactly.
So if you can frame it in the same way as I was talking about with the coaching, hey, we're both realtors, but we do a thing, well, we seem to operate in different channels,
Yeah.
right? In different areas. And we'd love to see if we could support each other.
I love it. And here's another piece that Christina brought up in the chat. Thank you, Christina Stewart. She's a photographer. She has lots of photographer friends. And with photography in particular, as real estate is the same, it's very geographically based. And even I may have connections all over the country or all over the world. I want a network of other photographers or professionals in my industry that I can trust. So it's the same with coaches. Somebody who is a life coach may not be a financial coach or a health coach. Like, there's different things. And here's the key, and it goes back to what Laura said about being a connector. If you are the go-to person for your connections, when they need something, they come to you first, then you refer out that person. You want to be the point of contact when people are in need related to your industry or other things in their life. So that was some great stuff.
I want to be really clear, because I'm afraid there may be misunderstanding. I said early on, just for the network marketing crew, that
very good. It was
that you don't want to be connected within that particular company, right? I was not talking about not connecting with people in your industry.
Very good.
So I want to make that that is really important clarification. So sorry for any confusion there, but that's just like what we were talking about with the coaching, whether it's coaching, photography, real estate. Good. There are incredible ways for people to connect, and even though they're in the same industry, and support one another for all kinds of different reasons.
Beautiful. I'm so glad we clarified that. And I think the fuzziness originally created some space for some good conversation, to brainstorm ideas and to expand our thinking and how we're building our connections. So it all served a purpose. I love it. All right, let me go ahead. I'm going to open up for our next caller, my good friend, Peg Duchesne. Good morning, Peg. And if you do have a question, you can raise your hand online. You can hit *6 on your phone, or place it in the chat or Q&A. Miss Peg Duchesne.
Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, Laura. What terrific information, Laura. Thank you so much. So my question really quickly is, you know how LinkedIn always suggests connections for us? They make recommendations. These may be people you know. What's your recommendation? Do we accept those suggestions or not? What do you say?
So I say it depends. So if you are really wanting to be intentional about just connecting with your ideal clients, then they may not be the best connections for you. However, LinkedIn has started making their algorithms so that they are making those connection suggestions are based on words in your profile, your industry, your educational history, where you went to school. So what you'll see in those connections are alums and other people in your industry, other people in your business. I don't say discount them. You can look through them, and if it makes sense to you to connect with them, go right ahead. However, I don't recommend that as your main approach for getting new connections.
Gotcha. And then a follow-up. In your class, you're going to teach us more in-depth strategies on doing the searches for our ideal client?
So in the class on the 10th, we'll begin to scratch the surface on that. I'll give a little teaser. I also have a really in-depth 4-week course where we're going to dive deep on everything from how to connect, how to engage, how to search, why groups are important on LinkedIn and how to make the most of those groups, and a lot more. So yeah, I'll touch a little bit on it on the 10th, but the real deep dive is going to be in the 4-week course.
Oh, I'm glad to know there's a deeper dive. Thank you so much for answering the question. Thanks, Nancy. Thanks, Laura. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You're most
You too.
welcome, Peg. So glad that you're here, and you'll be taking the class. And let me mention that even though the class is on October 10th, when you register today, there's an instant download of the workbook to get you started in setting up your profile. And, you know, I think the way that you have this structured, Laura, is brilliant, because you want to build your profile, then you come to the class, build those connections, work on your description, do the searches, take it to the, and that's how everything needs to be. We need to do one step. How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
You want to dominate LinkedIn? One bite at a time. So thank you for setting it up that way. We've got one more person with a question in the queue. I'm going to open up in a moment. Let me ask you this on behalf of Aurelia. In your class, will you go over how to better word your profile, or is that in the workbook when they
So
register?
there are some great suggestions in the workbook about how to begin to word your profile and how to put that together. Then because you get that in advance of the class, that will allow us in the class to really go a little bit deeper, since everybody will have already had some prep time to be thinking about wording and the like.
All right, beautiful. So that answers that question. I just posted the link again in the Facebook and in the chat. And now we should have time for one more. So let me open up for someone who is loved, celebrated, appreciated, and most cherished, Miss Roz Knighton Warfield.
Hey. Good morning. You know, there's a scripture in the Bible. I can't think where it is, but it says you got to go through things 7 times. So, Laura, you're my second time. Dr. Patricia worked with me on that LinkedIn, and I still wasn't getting it. I just feel like it's like, you know, you look at puzzle pieces. For kindergartners, give me about 5 pieces. But when it gets more advanced, it's 500 pieces. But I want to say that what you shared today is how you administer yourself to me by welcoming me to Women's Prosperity Network. So it's really true about the engagement and the empowerment of connecting. And now, because of this, at least the 2 attempts of Sisters Who Are Loving on me to get this thing together, I feel so much more at ease, like a chain and ball is off of me now. So I'll be looking forward. I'll be coming back from actually a retreat and praying about all my connections on August 10th. I will be looking forward to that. And I don't know if you already picked somebody, but I'm saying me, because I probably got a whole lot of not do stuff on it. So if nobody has said it, I think some other sisters said it, but I'm just saying me. Use me, girl, use me.
Love it.
I
Love
believe
it.
what Laura's going to do is everybody will submit a request to be considered for this, and then there's a wheel that we'll use to pick the person. Just so
Oh, yeah, the wheel of LinkedIn future.
fortune, a wheel of LinkedIn fortune.
That's right. So be looking for in your emails for that form in case you want to be
Right,
considered.
and you'll get that once you register for the class. And so
Get ready to do it right now too. Thank you so much, and getting ready to share it too, so folks can know. Because Nancy, you gave something that was very important. If you don't have a website, knowing that, how do you say SEO? The LinkedIn comes up first.
yes,
I'm like, and I kind of went into a condo. I was like, what the heck?
yes.
I've had my LinkedIn since I was at FedEx. I ain't done nothing with it because it was just so complex for my brain. But it is a good tool. I know it is. And I see it when I get the notifications. But I guess I don't know, the fear or just Mikey.
You didn't know what to do with them. That's all. Now we're finding out.
Yeah, so I love it. Thank you so much to both of y'all. This has been an awesome Wow Wednesday.
Roz, thank you so much for coming and always being so incredibly supportive. You're just phenomenal. Thank you.
She is so good. Thank you, Roz. So good. And I want to say, wow. If you go like this, it spells wow or something like this.
Okay, I'm not even gonna try.
No, I probably shouldn't have tried, but oh no, here it is.
Oh, okay. So
WOW. No, I'm making you be silly on in public.
it's okay. I love being silly. It's all good.
Right,
We
if it-
can't be silly. What's the point?
It's got to be fun. It's got to be fun. All right, beautiful. So again, go to barkerbusinesssolutions.com. I'll go ahead and type it in the chat one more time. I'll put it on. I just put it on Facebook as well. Join us on August 10th and build those connections. And I want to remind you, the reason you do that is there are people out there who need to know how you can be of service and add value. And there are people out there on LinkedIn who want to pour into your life as well. We all need things. We're here to do this stuff together. So get onto LinkedIn. Laura, thank you for sharing your wisdom and your brilliance and your heart with us today.
It has been pure joy every single moment, Nancy. And I just thank you and WPN for the opportunity to be here. The people on this call, I'm just scanning the chat a little bit, and I wish I had time to really dive into it. But thank you to everyone for commenting, for asking questions. Love being able to support you guys with any little bit that I can.
Beautiful, beautiful. So thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who tuned in on the phone, on Zoom, on Facebook. And if you enjoyed today and you're not a member of Women's Prosperity Network, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what's available to you. Get on to womensprosperityNetwork.com. Join for free if it feels good. Upgrade to the gold membership. And if today brought value to you, I promise next week I'm going to have another great guest for WOW. There's a referral link. And when you refer, you get prizes, some really good stuff. So click on that referral link and share WOW Wednesday with someone you care about. Until next time, get out there, make your impact, shine your light, and connect with me on LinkedIn. How about that? Connect with
Love
Laura.
it.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, y'all.
You're welcome. Have an amazing, beautiful day.